The human voice is the instrument we all play. It is the most powerful sound in the world, probably. It's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet, many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. And why is that? How can you speak powerfully to make change in the world? What I would like to suggest, there are a number of habits that we need to move away from. I have assembled for your pleasure here are 7 deadly sins of speaking. I'm not pretending this is an exhaustive list, but these are 7. I think are pretty large habits that we all can fall into. First, gossip. Speaking ill of somebody who is not present. Not a nice habit, and we know perfectly well the person gossiping 5 minutes later will be gossiping about us. Second, judging. We know people who are like this in the conversation. It's very hard to listen to somebody if you know that you are being judged and found wanting at the same time. Third, negativity. You can fall into this. My mother, in the last 7 years of her life, became very negative, and it's hard to listen. I remember one day I said to her, "It's October today," and she said, "I know, isn't it dreadful?" It's hard to listen when somebody is that negative. Another form of negativity is complaining. Well, this is a national art of India. It's our national sport. We complain about weather, sports, politics, traffic, about everything. But actually, complaining is viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine and lightness in the world. Excuses. We all have met this guy. Maybe we all have been this guy. Some people have blame thrower. They just pass it on to everybody else and don't take the responsibility of their actions. And again, hard to listen to somebody who is being like that. Penultimate, the sixth of the 7 is embroidery, exaggeration. It demeans our language actually sometimes. For example, if I see something that really is awesome, what do I call it? And then, of course, this exaggeration becomes lying. When we don't want to listen to people we know are lying to us. And finally, dogmatism, the confusion of fact with opinions. When those two things get conflated, you're listening into the wind. You know, somebody is bombarding you with their opinion as if they were true. It's difficult to listen to that. So, here they are 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid. But is there a positive way to think about this? There is. I'd like to suggest there are 4 powerful cornerstones or foundations that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and to make change in the world. Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is hail. And it's a great definition as well. I'm not talking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hits you on the head. I'm talking about this definition. To greet or acclaim enthusiastically, which is how I think our words will be received. If we stand on these 4 things, so what do they stand for? See if you can guess. The H, honesty, of course, being true in what you say, being straight and clear. The A is authentic, just being yourself. A friend of mine describing it as standing on your own truth, which I think is a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being your word, actually doing what you say, and being somebody people can trust. And the L is love. I don't mean romantic love, but I mean wishing people well for 2 reasons. First of all, I think absolute honesty may not be what we want. I mean, my goodness, you look ugly in the morning, perhaps that's not necessary. Tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. But also, if you really wish somebody well, it's hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure the 2 things simultaneously. So, hail, what you say. Also, now that you say, it's like the old song, what you say. It's also about that you say it, you have an amazing toolkit, the instrument is incredible, and yes, this is a toolkit that very people have ever opened. I like to have a little rummage in there with and just pull a few tools out that you might like to take away and play with, which will increase the power of speaking. register, for example. And now falsetto register may not be very useful most of the time, but there is a register in between. I'm not going to get very technical about this. For any of you who know who are voice coaches, you can locate your voice however. So if I talk up here in the nose, you can see the difference. If I hear it from throat, you can. But if you want, you need to go down the chest. You hear the difference? We vote for politicians with lower voices. If true, because we associate depth with power and authority. That's register. Then we have a timbre. It's about how a voice feels. And again, research shows that we prefer voices which are rich, smooth, warm, like hot chocolate. Well, that's not you. That's not the end of the world because you can train. Go and get a voice coach. And there are amazing things that you can do with breathing, with posture, with exercises to improve the timbre of your voice. Then prosody. I love prosody. This is the sing a song, the meta language that we use in order to impart meaning. It's root one for meaning in conversations. People who speak all on one note are really quite hard to listen to. And if they do not have prosody at all, that's where the word monotonic comes from. Monotonous, monotone. And we have repetitive prosody now coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were a question when it actually is not a question, it's a statement. And if you repeat that one, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate through, which I think is same and loose. So let's try and break that habit. Pace. I can get very excited by saying something really quickly, or I can show slight down the emphasis, and at the end of the day, of course, it's our old friend silence. There is nothing wrong in bit of silence in a talk, is there? We don't have to fill with ums and ah. It can be powerful. Of course, the pitch often goes along with pace to indicate arousal, but you can do it just with the pitch. Where did you leave my keys? Where did you leave my keys? So slightly different meaning those two deliveries. And finally, the volume. I can really get excited by using volume. Sorry about that if it startled anybody. Or I can really pay attention by getting very quiet. Some people broadcast the whole time. Try not do that. That's called shortcasting. Imposing your sound on people around carelessly and inconsiderately, not nice. Of course, where is this all comes into play most of all is when you get something really important to do. It might be standing on a stage like this and giving people a talk. It might be proposing marriage, asking for a raise, wedding speech, whatever it is. If it's really important, you owe it to yourself to look at this toolbox. An engine that's going to work on, and no engine works well without warm up your voice. Actually, let me show how to do that. Well, you all like to stand up for a moment. I'm going to show you the 6 warm vocal exercises that I do every day, that I ever do. Anytime you're going to talk to anybody important, do these. First, arms up, deep breath, sigh out. One more time, very good. Now we're going to warm up our lips and we're going to do ba ba. Very good. And now, brr, just like when you kid. Now your lips are going to become alive. We're going to do the tongue, very exaggerated la. Beautiful. You're getting really good at this, and then on a roll la. That's like champagne for a tongue. Finally, if I can do only do done one, the pros of all this is siren. It's really good to start. It starts with V and goes to O. The V is high, the O is low. So we go V, ah. Fantastic. Give yourself a round of applause. Take a seat. Thank you.